Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's lesson we're going to be looking at composition in art. Okay, so we're going to be discussing what composition is, what it might mean, how it might look, and how we can incorporate this into our artworks. So as you can see on the right hand side of the screen, we're just going to be going over some bits of information on Google. We've got a picture there which I type in composition of art and it comes up with a bunch of images on Google. This is one of the random images I selected and it just gives us a little bit to go at while we briefly discuss composition in art. So as we can see, let me just use a pencil pointer. So as you can see, we have this triangle going through the entire picture, okay, and we've got a small structure here, some smaller structures here, babies in fact, and we have the adults in the middle. The focal point is just off center, so here we are tapping into the golden ratio, or something that is known as the golden ratio in the art world, or it's actually a mathematically derived term. However, we'll come on to that a little bit later, but here we have the focal point which is off center, because the center would be here, and if this group of people were in the center, then this circle would be in the center of the triangle and there'd be more in the middle. And we've got a basic eye line which basically brings your eyes straight to the center, then you look up, then you look down, then you look across, and it brings you back to the center. So this image, this example of a painting, I'm not sure who painted it, I'm not sure where it's from, but it does give us a good idea of composition in art. Now let's just discuss a little bit of information about composition in art, what it might mean and what it is and where it comes from. If you type composition in art into Google, you'll get the AI, a brief description by the AI Google Gemini bot, which says composition in art is the arrangement of the elements of an artwork to create a whole. It's a fundamental part of art that applies to many different mediums, such as painting, photography, and sculpture. Principles in art. It's a principle of art, is composition. Artists use principles like balance, contrast, rhythm, and movement to organize the elements in their artwork. Format. The shape of a canvas, photograph, such as a square or rectangle, can impact the composition. We have different types of composition in artwork. You might have dynamic composition, which uses intersecting diagonals, contrasting colours, light and dark accents to create a sense of movement and activity. You have static composition, which uses horizontal and vertical accents, subdued colours and tonal contrasts to create a sense of order. Triangular or pyramidal composition arranges figures into stable geometric structures to create a sense of balance and harmony. Now, going back to let's touch on the golden ratio just a little bit, as I mentioned that about a minute ago. So the golden ratio is basically a mathematical formula which apparently gives you the most aesthetically pleasing composition. Okay, you can type in the golden ratio or the golden section on Google and it'll give you the exact ratios and numbers to sort of deal with the golden ratio. But again, it's a mathematical ratio that is considered to be the most aesthetically pleasing. It's also known as the golden mean, the golden divine proportion, a golden section. Okay, so that's what we're talking about when it comes to the golden ratio, and it's just basically the arrangement of the objects in a particular ratio, which apparently is the most aesthetically pleasing to the human eye. Here we've got another example of composition. We've got the focal point of the character just off to the center, just left to the center, because down the middle here would be the center. So this is another important rule when it comes to composition. The focal point always generally wants to be off center. If we look at these works here, we can see it's quite a clear example. Oops, internet is running dog slow again today. So let's go on to this tab here. Let's see what else we can find. So all I want to do now, people, is okay, this is a good example of the golden ratio. So let's have a look at Mona Lisa. Everybody is aware of the Mona Lisa. Everybody's seen the Mona Lisa, 100% guaranteed. Well, not everybody, but most adults on earth will have seen the Mona Lisa. So let's have a quick look at the Mona Lisa painting with the golden ratio in mind. So this here is the golden ratio, okay, and we start from the nose. We have the head all within the top section, and then the body in the bottom section leading us to the hands. And this painting is very flowing. It's a very clear cut image, and for some reason it has a very high aesthetic value. Maybe it's the golden ratio taking its role here. Maybe it's the subject matter. Maybe it's the painter Da Vinci who owns the provenance to this piece. However, the golden ratio is something to consider when creating your artwork. You could perhaps draw the golden ratio. So for example, you could draw, you could draw these grid lines, and then you could create your drawing within those golden ratio aspects, okay? But that's not going to be the task of this lesson, guys. We're going to just have a small task for today, which is simply to create a page in your sketchbook, call it composition in art, and then Google a bit of information about it, write a little bit of information about it, and that's pretty much it, people. I want to just to give you a little bit of time just to write a little bit about the composition in art. Just a quick page in your sketchbook, doesn't have to be anything much or anything great in particular, but we do want to start taking down bits of information as it relates to composition in art. So focal points, they always want to be off center. You can have the rule of the third. There's a lot of rules of third. So for example, if you're doing like a landscape, you want either 1/3 or 2/3 of land at the bottom and 1/3 or 2/3 of sky at the top. You never really want it 50-50. The golden ratio you can use, as we've already discussed multiple times. There is a piece of artwork that I did want to show you guys as well. A very simple piece of artwork, very famous piece of artwork too, and it's called The Great Wave of Kanagawa. I can't pronounce that. I'm not good at pronouncing every single word in the world, but this is a Japanese, timeless piece of iconic art. Okay, it's a very famous piece, a very famous work. You'll be able to find all sorts of variations of this particular piece. Ooh, there we go, that'll do. So here, guys, we've got the focal point off center, which is the big crashing wave, which brings the eye line round up here, and then it will generally bring you back around, and you might go for another take, then you'll see the mountain in the distance. So let's just have a quick read about this piece, and just to give you guys a little bit more information about this piece, about the subjects which we are indeed looking at. So The Great Wave of Kanagawa is a masterpiece that captured the imagination of art enthusiasts worldwide for centuries. This iconic woodblock print, created by the Japanese ukiyo-e artist Kashukia Hokusai, is not just a beautiful representation of nature's power, but also a symbol of Japan's cultural heritage and artistic prowess. In this article, we will delve into the history, significance, and yada la. Okay, so symbolism and composition. So this is the bit that we're actually interested in, because it actually talks about the composition itself. The primary focus is the colossal wave, as we've already discussed, which is in the foreground, which dwarfs the fragile fishing boats and their desperate occupants, which is also, as we can see, riding up and down the waves. And at first glance, you don't really pay attention to these boats. You just kind of think these bits are parts of the wave, but upon closer inspection, you actually realize there's boats riding these big, dangerous waves. Just about do it for this lesson. This has been lesson number 12. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And of course, I will see you in lesson 13, where we're going to be looking at some street art, okay? In particular, we'll be looking at an artist called Banksy. I know this lesson's gone on a little bit longer than what some of my other lessons are, but that doesn't matter. Some lessons will be a little bit longer. So quick recap, the task for today is to create a page in your sketchbook talking a little bit about composition in art, and pick one artwork which you like and talk about its composition, okay? So whether it's going to be the waves, whether it's going to be Da Vinci's piece, whatever it's going to be, take one piece of artwork, write about its composition, title your page in your sketchbook composition in art, bit of information, and that's it for lesson 12, guys, okay? Again, thanks very much for watching, and I will see you in lesson 13.